What's happening, guys? Welcome to the Staincast. I'm sure I don't need to introduce you guys to us, but I'm going to do it anyways. Myself, DL, that's me. Hag, right there on the far right for me. And all in the middle for me, anyways, is going to be Mr. William B. Mr. Banks. How you
That's
doing?
me.
How's everybody doing?
I'm doing fan-fucking-tastic, DL. How are you?
Yeah, I'm sure you are. We've been having a little bit of difficulties getting this episode on the ground, so
As y'all know, I'm back home, so my Wi-Fi is garbage as usual.
yeah.
Boss.
But we're checking on. We're gonna keep going here. Uh, Obviously, you read the title of the video. We got Rogue One this week, the second movie part of Disney's Star Wars franchise. I'm sure it's very controversial to a lot of people. Think of it what you will. We at least got to go in this week, so we can be happy about that. New content wise, Mandalorian's like really the only new thing on my mind right now. I'm watching Succession also, but that's a little less like related to what we're talking about right now. So whatever. Yeah, Mandalorian. I'm waiting for it to finish. A little mid, but we'll talk about that in a couple weeks from now. The main topic, yeah, is that when everything's all said and done, I'm gonna watch
Next
it,
week.
and then I'll let you. Oh, next week already? Okay, yeah. So when that's all done, I'm gonna try to watch it, and you guys will hear from me what I think about it. We'll see. But let's jump right into this because you guys have seen this once, but I'm seeing this like 15 times. So
Yeah.
starting off, I'm getting some deja vu right now. Willie, who's your favorite and least favorite character from Star Wars Rogue One, a Star Wars story?
Star Wars story.
Yeah.
To the one without a soul is K2SO, our Imperial droid who's been refurbished by the Rebellion. Easy work. I mean, like jokes I thought were good Star Wars jokes, on point. Action, he was a solid presence on the screen, but he still didn't take away from our main characters, which I liked, and he was just a solid droid, which we don't. We always have the more basic droids that just make droid noises. This one actually had a personality.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, so I do agree with you on that aspect because like he is like arguably like he's the most charismatic, he's the best character there. But I can't fucking stand his type of droid because I'm getting my ass kicked by them left and right playing through Fallen Order right now.
Bro, oh my god, that's so funny. That's literally exactly what I said, like on recording attempt number 2. You weren't here, of course. But
Was it
no,
actually?
you can ask Willie. That's literally word for word what I said.
Literally
That's
word
fucking
for word.
wild.
They're getting me so fucking tight right now.
That's
Because
funny
I'm in the
because I
middle
say
of
no, because I was saying that when Willie said that, I was like, yeah, I fuck with KTSO, whatever his name is. I said his character's fine, but the problem is that in Fallen Order, those things literally just pick you up and just toss you on the ground, and it's just like the same combo over, and they just run at you. It's like, damn, bro, a lightsaber is just so useless against them. Like in the Force, does nothing.
Yeah, it's
But
fucking.
K2SO is fun.
Yeah, K2SO is fine, and I mean Alan Tudyk does a great job as he always does. Alan Tudyk's a goated actor, but it's just I just see him and I get fucking PTSD from when I'm literally in the middle of playing the game right now, getting my ass handed to me.
As long as it's not just me, because that shit gets me so tight. Like when I first played Do It, there was like one mission where there was like 5 of them just walking at me. I'm like, this is impossible.
Bro, I know exactly what you're talking
you swing
about.
on. It's when you're at the Jedi Temple. It's when you go to the Jedi Temple. It's like in the ground level. It's like you're trying to swing at one, and then you just get grabbed, and then you get dropped to the ground, and you get grabbed again. It's like, all right.
Again.
It's like, stop this madness.
Eventually, I just did the force ground pound to get them off me, and I just dipped. I didn't even bother fighting them. I was like, fuck this.
No, the XP ain't worth the suffering.
It's not. Sometimes it's fucking not.
All I hear is you both suck. I can't. Like you both.
Yeah, exactly. It's a skill. It's a skill thing.
Wait till you play through the game.
And then I'm going to eat my words and think back to this episode and go, God damn it, they won.
Yeah, they were onto something. They were onto something when they were fucking hating on K2SO's droid.
No.
The Imperial security droids.
Get me fucking tight.
I do have to say though, I do like because we see later in the movie we see K2 hack another like an actual Imperial security droid, and it's Scomp like is in the same spot that BD1 does it to hack it in Fallen Order.
No,
it's a small continuity things that I enjoy to see.
It reminded me of
That's
freaking
cool.
iRobot. It's like in the same spot that in iRobot they like stick in the little fucking things too. But whatever. Who's your least favorite character, Willie? If you have one.
If you know the character, I had to look up the name. It's Bistan or Biston. He's one. If you look him up right now, he is just an ugly little creature. He's one of the rebel fighters. He just looks hideous. Like actual, like for character
Oh, I
purposes,
see him.
like
Yeah.
actual character purposes, like I don't really have a least favorite character. Everyone's still on the same level
Oh
for me here.
God,
But
why
just
the
him,
fuck does he
his
look like that?
He
his
is fucking
existence.
hideous.
It's so ugly. Why is his eyebrow like he's like a failed monkey experiment? I don't know what he is, but I just want him gone.
Yeah. Oh God, never that. For Christ's sake.
Yeah, here you go. For those worrying, here he is. Bistan.
It ain't showing. Oh,
Well,
it's probably because I can't. Actually, I don't know why I couldn't see. Whatever. Anyone's curious, look him up. Do it at
he's
your own
hideous.
risk, though, because
you're gonna
he
regret
is.
looking it up though.
Yeah, exactly. But so yeah, I mean, I agree with you with that. I don't know, Hag, if you had any like different favorite or least favorite characters for this.
Yeah, Riz Ahmed, aka the villain from Venom, Bodhi Rook.
You just said a whole lot of words, and I don't think I understood any
Why'd
of
you
them.
hate him?
Besides
Why'd you hate him?
villain from Venom.
Riz Ahmed, the guy who plays the villain in Venom, he's Bodhi Rook. I mean, he's just a bunch of he's a nothing character.
Oh, the
I've
Imperial,
seen,
the shuttle pilot.
yeah, it's I've seen so many things of like Imperials. I mean, maybe it's just because I've played the Battlefront 2 storyline. I've read some of the books and stuff, but I've just seen so many like Imperials defecting to um rebels, and I have no appeal for Bodhi. I really don't. He doesn't do much for me.
Yeah, I mean, he's just at his core, he's not a very interesting character. Like he's kind of just there to like be the connection between Jin and her father and like bring them together. And like obviously the whole thing with the Death Star, that's important. But like what he does like after that, no, he's kind of a
Yeah.
scrub.
He
I don't
didn't
know.
need to be part of the main Rogue One.
I thought
I wasn't mad
honestly,
at
no,
him though.
I wasn't mad at him, but I thought the same thing, Hag. I didn't really like him as a character, but then again, when he dies, I was still sad. Like I was upset that he died.
Most of the other characters hit me more, like with their death. Like I think that Chariot's was and Baze's were a lot more heartfelt. K2's is probably the most heartfelt in my opinion.
Don't make me cry right now, dude. I was gonna get into that later, bro. Like I know they're bad.
Yeah, like
I mean,
K2, I think that was a good
it's
one.
like obviously we knew going into this movie that most of the main characters were going to die because they weren't in episode 4. But it still hits, and like I'm sure because like I still am throwing, I still have to finish Andor, but I'm sure DL it hits even more
Toss.
after seeing Andor.
Oh, absolutely. And I was gonna say that when I got to my favorite character, but yeah, I mean, I'll jump into it when we get to there. But yeah, 100%.
But I have nothing else. My favorite character is K2, like Will said, and we were talking about
Mm.
before. So DL, if you want to just hop into yours.
Sure. I mean, basically, you gave my favorite character Andor. He's my favorite. He looks really young in this movie because obviously in Andor is like 6-7 years after this movie came out, and it's kind of weird that like he looks younger when he's supposed to be older. Yeah, yeah, exactly. He looks younger when he's supposed to be older. Whatever, however that works out. He just looks really skinny and shit too. But whatever. I think it's just because I've seen Andor the show. Like, I couldn't even say like what about this movie makes me like him the most. It's just that like he's so, I don't know. It's just I think out of all the characters in this movie, the one I related with the most was Andor.
Because you've seen so much of him.
Exactly, and like his character has a lot, like he's just so much more fleshed out of a character. For me, anyway, since I've seen Andor, so like when you see him in this movie, and it's still, and they really did adapt him like pretty much the same in this movie as he is in Andor. So,
oh, I will say because like I know you guys can't see it right now, but everybody else can. The book I'm holding up, Star Wars Catalyst, a Rogue One novel. Like this expands on the backstory and the relationship between Galen and Krennic and Galen's wife, which I haven't fully read this one yet, but from like people I've heard that have read it, this made them care so much about their characters, and it made them care for like Jin's mom when she died, and Galen a little more when he died. So I'm interested to tap into this one, especially after rewatching the movies recently. But I'm balls deep in reading Thrawn right now. That's not gonna that's not gonna change anytime soon.
the Blue Man
Yeah, it's
group.
tough. It's in the Blue Man group. It's tough though.
Yeah, I mean, besides like, I really don't have much else to say on Andor. Like, if you thought his character was good in this movie, and like you're kind of interested to see more, definitely watch Andor. Um, it's a good watch. It's like just like this one where you're still in the Star Wars universe, but it doesn't have Luke Skywalker or Anakin Skywalker's name said every 15 minutes. So if you're looking for something that's still like in the continuity, but it's not like making out to like an uncomfortable extent with the Skywalkers, watch Andor on
Yeah, I
Disney
mean, I feel like
Plus.
it's it's probably the most out of the Disney Plus shows, like the most um separated, because Obi
Mhm.
Wan obviously deals so much with that. Even in Mando and
That's why it's
Boba
the
Fett, we
best.
literally
That's why it's the best one. What? Shocker!
yeah.
Impossible. It's like what a surprise that when you stop sucking a story you've been telling for 46. I'm gonna calm down. I'm gonna calm down because it's not worth it. But that's kind of how I see it. It's like the one story that isn't so hell bent on telling a story about the Skywalkers and freaking Rey Skywalker is actually good because they don't have to like be so strict with what they do. And Andy Serkis is in Andor, and he's also very good.
He's also in episodes
He's
7 and
Snoke.
8.
He's fucking Snoke. Yeah,
I know.
the most goaded fucking what is it? Motion cat, yeah, most
Motion
goated
capture.
motion actor of all time. That man is
Yeah,
such a bad brother.
I mean, he does Planet of the Apes. He does fucking
Hmm.
Smeagol and fucking whatever the
He just does
ultimate evil is.
everything. He literally
Yeah,
just does everything, man. He's so great.
yeah.
Besides that, my least favorite, I kind of agree with you guys. Like, there is no like easy character to just be like just toss up a layup and be like, yeah, this guy's trash. This guy does nothing. Like, maybe I'd give it to Krennic, but I mean, that's kind of all how all the Imperial officers are. And if you see in Andor, they're all like that. Like, it's more of like a deep dive into like the inner workings of the Empire, and that's why I enjoyed Andor so much because like
It's
you're
so
it's always told from the lens of. I don't mean to cut you off. Just give me 1 second.
there you
It's
go.
always told from the lens of like a Jedi, and it's like, all right, I can just pull out my lightsaber and walk into a room and kill all these people. It's like, all right, not very complex. Like, I could just use the fucking the Force and all its plot tricks to freaking do whatever I want. But now when you actually have some espionage, some actual like spying that needs to go on, it's just more interesting in my opinion. Like, sure, I mean, you guys watched the last couple episodes. If you did, you know we love the Skywalkers. Of course we do. But
Of course.
you can only tell a story so many times and sell the exact same story literally within the last 30. Okay. Nope. Nope. Nope.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, I think that's why I like Thrawn so much too, is because it deals like literally we're seeing Thrawn's come up through the Empire. We see the like the scumbaggery, the stuff
The
how the
plotting.
Empire works exactly, and it's so tough because we like you said we finally get away from the Jedi. Like yeah, City like Palpatine's in it,
It's
Vader like
super
has
interesting, but like there's other stories to be told. That's just what it comes down to.
exactly exactly, and it's great to finally be able to see so much in depth of like because I feel like as I get older, the politics of Star Wars gets more interesting.
Absolutely. I mean, I think just the politics of most things kind of just get interesting because you can actually understand it. It's like even episode
Yeah,
one. I remember hating episode one, but now like you actually like. I'm not gonna say all of a sudden this is like a great movie. Like, it's a good movie. It's fine. But
but it's
like now
better
that
than
I
two.
understood the actual premise, it's like, okay, I can identify with this movie more because it's not just a bunch of people freaking yabbering for 2 hours or whatever.
Yeah,
But my least favorite character is Borgullet. It's the little octopus
the
guy.
the Borgullet, the like fucking mind
Yeah,
fucked movie.
yeah. Well, I guess there's nothing about that character that was all right. Not the way he moved. There was nothing.
Well, how do you guys feel about Staw's portrayal in this? I know you both have seen Clone Wars, and DL, you've seen him in other stuff as well.
Hmm.
So how do you guys feel about Saw?
I mean, did you have anything you want to say first, Willie? Because I'll probably talk a little longer just because I've seen him in a couple more projects.
To be honest, I don't know him that well to really
Okay.
speak a huge amount about him. I know, like in this, he's a solid. Like, I don't know. It was again. I don't know enough about him to be honest.
Yeah, that's fine. I wasn't sure if you had anything else. I mean, I really don't have too much to say on him either. I mean, his portrayal. I've just seen him. He's in Andor too. Spoiler alert. He's in Andor as well. I mean, he's kind of just like um, Death Star one. Like before the Death Star gets destroyed. Like before like Luke Skywalker. There's so much of him obviously in the universe. Like he's going around slaughtering people, so there's a lot of stories to be told involving him. But it's not bad. His whole mask thing was like whatever. I don't know. I really don't have too much to say on it. It's like for a guy that's so you always see him as being like this wicked and brutal person. You never see him like in the thick of it, like ripping someone's head off. Like I'm not saying that specifically, but you know what I mean. It's like
We don't
in
actually we hear they talk about it more than we see.
exactly, and that's why that's kind of my issue because in Andor, he's only ever just talking. In Fallen Order, the game, he's only ever talking. In this movie, he's only ever talking. It's
In
like
Rebels,
you,
he's only ever talking,
exactly.
and he's always just talking.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's like when you're gonna paint some guy to be like this mass murdering because he's this whole friggin' thing is like guerrilla warfare and like literally just being being the most ruthless person there is, and that's how he wins. Like he's just the most freaking nitty and gritty. Like, but you never see it, so it's kind of like, it's a cool story, but I don't believe it because I've never seen it.
No.
Did you have anything you wanted to add to that, Hag?
No, I mean you pretty much hit the nail on the head. Like it's more my issue with him is we see. I mean we hear more than we see. I mean in and I'm gonna throw back to some of the novels. Like we see more of him in the novels and see more of him doing that. Like his training with Jin, like and Jin growing up. That's a whole novel in itself. We see at the end that the ending of Solo actually ties into Rogue One, even though we don't see it in this. That's expanded upon in the Solo novelization, and it's just we see so much of it. We hear so much about him, but we just don't see it actually happen.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It's a shame because I'm sure you could really make some great stories about him. I mean, the man's freaking ruthless. Like the man does whatever it takes, and it's kind of just an afterthought. I mean, there's a lot of characters in this movie, so like this maybe wasn't the movie, especially when he died in this movie because this is like the end of his story. But all the other projects I listed, the ones you listed, there's really no excuse. You should at least see him in one of them.
Yeah.
But what are some of your favorite scenes, Willie? And this is the make or break. I remember in Clone
Yeah.
Wars, this is the make or break.
Yeah, I got a couple. I want to start. I don't want to go to the end yet. I guess I'll break it first.
Okay.
Any of the CGI with Tarkin and Leia, those are always bad. This one's not terrible, but it was. I just looked at it and I was just uncomfortable.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, this was the first time Disney really did
I
the
thought
CG.
I thought the Tarkin deepfake actually looked really good. I mean, obviously it has that like uncanny valley where like his face just doesn't look like skin. I see that. I know what you mean, but it didn't look bad. I mean, I'm Luke in Mandalorian season 2 is infinitely worse. So
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
100%, 100%.
and it's like this came so many years before, so it's like I'm kind of on the fence. But I agree with you where something wasn't right about it. But I mean, of course it wasn't. The man's not alive, unfortunately, anymore. Like they're trying to freaking do surgery on a freaking I don't know in Photoshop.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely weird. It's like you said, uncanny valley, but Leia looks so much worse.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, that one's like the Tarkin one is more like I would be like just a little unsettling, but Leia's like whoa, like that kind of reaction to it, where like this isn't right. Where like Tarkin's kind of just like didn't look very good.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else?
Yeah.
Any other breaks?
Breaks. Let's see. I'm actually changing that one. So this is like for me a break. It did you either of you see John Wick 4?
Not
Yeah.
yet.
Well, I mean, kind of spoiler. Do you want me not to spoil it? I can. It's
I don't care.
really essentially is how do you say his name? The
Chariot.
Chariot. Same exact character in John Wick 4.
Yeah,
They are the same exact. Like I was watching it and I was like, this is just John Wick 4 except Star Wars. Like what's nothing.
Mhm. I'm in the same boat you are because I watched John Wick 3 recently, then I watched it again last night, and I was like, no way, this guy who can see in real life is playing a blind guy in 2 movies that I've seen within 2 weeks of each other. Like what the fuck?
Like, literally
is crazy.
same everything. It was just change of scenery. It was bad.
It was a little fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, that's my last. That's the end of my breaks.
What about your makes?
Some makes. Calm to start is any of the explosions. I thought any of the explosions were wicked cool. Compared to like Force Awakens and the rest of them, I think they did. I think we talked about it in Clone Wars, where they talk about Star Wars being famous for the large vistas and like big spans that you can see everything. You really could see the huge explosions in this. And I thought that was sick. You don't get to see that in as much detail in many of the movies. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. But basically everything you said, like Star Wars is like the picture is just so important. Like what you're seeing, the angle you're seeing it from, and their world building is always so built on like how well they like create their sets and stuff. It's like just like the planets themselves. Like you look at like Mustafar, and it's like, yeah, I know that planet's Mustafar just from the color of it. It's like they just do such a great job as like associating certain things to each other. And this movie's no exception.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just gonna just bounce off and just say anything with Vader.
Oh yeah, of course.
Tough.
Of course.
Like him, the scene that we posted is the reel with him pulling up on Krennic and is, "Am I still in charge?"
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the iconic, the best, which we recently found out was directed by Dave Filoni. That last scene of him pulling up in the hallway.
That joint is OD. Literally, it's just a freaking. It's just like an immediate release for anybody who's been wanting to see Darth Vader. Like, because but previous to this, we haven't seen Darth Vader in this century. Like, no, right? Yeah, no, we haven't seen Darth Vader in this century previous to this movie. So it's like all we're seeing is the freaking the tech they're working with from the 70s and 80s, and all of a sudden you're tossing them into freaking 2015, 2016 CGI and all that kind of stuff, just practical, and it's like, damn, he's a bad boy.
He is,
and this is also like him in his freaking peak too. Like he's peaking like before, like around that no hope. No. I was about to say No Way Home. New Hope. Around that New Hope era, he is just fucking dealing. Like he is. There's no good in that man at this point. Like he gets redeemed obviously later on the line, but right now, hell
there's
no.
Nothing good left.
No. Did you have anything else? Either of you like make or breaks?
The last one, the only one, oh yeah, last one is the ending. I want to come back to that. Is what's his name when the oh yeah, Admiral Radis, when he sees the Death Star fire on the base and he looks down and they're still down there. It's kind of a, like it's with it is it made it for me. It really tied the end of it together. Was he just says Rogue One, may the Force be with you, and it just hit me in the chest. Like just watching it, and you know that it's just going to be demolished, and he has the plans. He's getting out of there. It like really ends the movie like strong.
I mean, it leads right into A New Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I also think that like they handled all the deaths well, like Galen's death, and then of course, like I said, K2, Chariot, Baze, like they all had very good, impactful deaths to the story where you really felt for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then some another just random scene that I liked is how fucking cold Andor was when he shot that guy in the back in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, that was vile.
yeah.
Andor is a fucking dirtbag, man. I love that man. He is just fucking. He's just like finally like a character who doesn't think he's good. Like I don't know, like there's so many characters in Star Wars that are like, oh yeah, they kill people, so like they're evil or something. Like there's no mistaking. Like he doesn't think he's a good person or anything like that. And there is no like, oh he could be redeemed or something like that. The man's just fucking evil. Like obviously not as bad as like like Vader or like some really like super villain motherfuckers. But like he's definitely a lot more gray compared to some of the characters we see where they're kind of just they did one bad thing or something.
Yeah, he's the anti-hero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, an actual proper one compared to someone who's just like, I do bad things every once in a while or whatever. I guess I'll just jump into some of my breaks just because you guys did your breaks first too. In the beginning, like maybe it was just me. I just haven't seen this movie in a while, and I think like the jumping from planet to planet in the beginning was a little too much for me. Like maybe if they kind of toned it down, like maybe kind of like stretched out the story, so like you're still going from planet to planet, but there's a little bit more going on the planets, because like it really got to the point like in the first 15 minutes where it's like, all right, we're on a planet for like 30 seconds and we're jumping to another one, then we're jumping to another one, then we're jumping to another one. It could be done fine. I just wasn't a huge fan of how it was portrayed in this movie. Like you can definitely switch scenes where if you have more stuff going on different planets, but I just think it was a little too much. Like it was to the point where I was like noticing it, where I was like, "Holy crap, this is like our fourth planet in 5 minutes." It's like, calm down.
Yeah,
And
but we
that's
do
kind of
see
just
a
like
lot that we
what are you
did
saying?
never saw before. So we see a lot of planets that we never seen before. We see Mustafar in the current age with Vader's castle, and then Scarif, which I personally really like the design behind Scarif.
Look, I'm not mad at the place they went to. I just think at the beginning when they're just jumping between like Jeddah, the planet Andor was on, Yavin 4, like they're just all over the place. It's like that's kind of my beef with this movie. Like, it's not like hatred. It's more just some plot, like some of the plot, like really got skipped, while some things were like you're kind of just sitting around. Like I feel like Galen's death, I think, was very rushed, especially for someone as
Fair.
talented as Mads Mikkelsen. Like I mean, he's honestly too good for Star Wars, so like I'm not mad at that. But his death was kind of just like a little too quick for me, like the classic blowing up and then saying like his final words and then dying. Like, a little too cliche for me. But another thing I like is that I'm gonna stay positive here. I do his speech to Jin was really good, like from the Hala thing, from the
Mm-hmm.
when he's like chatting about her. I mean, obviously he's that man. Anyone who's seen Mads Mikkelsen before knows he's that man. It's like I don't have to convince you, but
He was
he's
wasted in Doctor Strange.
yeah. Oh my goodness, bro,
Oh yeah.
unbelievable, unbelievably so. But yeah, if he was in the movie more, he honestly would have been one of my favorite characters. But with the screen time he had, I just couldn't justify. Like that's just me. That's my bias coming a little too. It's being too apparent.
It's understandable though.
hmm I mean, what else do I got? Yeah, no, I did. I'm just gonna copy what you said, Willie. If I just say this, like the shot of the Death Star in front of the star, like when they're pulling up to Jeddah, like when you have like that shot of the Death Star like pulling up like in front of it and like blocking out the light. That shit was fire. That shit looked really good. Um,
There is no Death Star.
yeah.
The Senate has been informed that Jeddah was destroyed on a mining accident.
So something about his voice, it doesn't sound the same in this movie. I don't know what it is. It doesn't sound
I
as
think
good.
because in this movie, no, it was James Earl Jones
No, it is. I think it's just there wasn't as much like
filter on it.
yes, like there wasn't as much like technology involved. Where in like Obi-Wan, that's peak. Like that's straight from the OT. I feel like. Regardless, obviously the shot of the Death Star nuking Scarif, shit's fire.
That's just so tough.
Looks so good. And
Rest in peace.
one more thing. Yeah, rest in peace everyone on that fucking. But it's so funny how they said they were just going to destroy the city, Jeddah City, but like no way that entire planet's not fucked. It's like you had the
Oh, definitely.
crust, like you had the crust like going up into space. It's like no way that planet's gonna fucking be chilling after that. It's like just the city will be fine for today. It's like so why are you nuking it like that? Like I don't know.
So why using the Death Star?
Yeah, that's true. Like it's overkill if you're trying to destroy a city with a fucking Death Star. And the last thing I'll say is that he takes them off, so it's not that bad. But that Imperial pilot, that bro is wearing fucking swim goggles, man. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care who, like, what planes you're flying, what you're doing. They were swim goggles. They were clear goggles you put on when you go into the water. So that shit was hideous. I wasn't a
I
huge fan of
mean,
that. That's something that just took me right out of it. I'm like, bro, just give him fucking like ski goggles, and it would be more realistic than giving him fucking.
with goggles.
Yeah, they weren't right, man. They weren't right. Something about it.
What was the purpose of them? Like he never actually wears them, right?
Nope.
No,
That's it.
it's just
But
That's
also
my
like,
beef with it.
but also he's wear. He also is always in a cockpit with windows. So why do you need the goggles?
Bro, you tell me.
No,
I have no
I'm,
fucking
I'm,
clue.
I'm looking at hideous photos of them now, and they literally are like the
Swim
science
goggles.
rooms. Not even like I'd say like the chemistry class safety goggles they give you that
Mhm.
leave the marks on your like eyes around it. That's exactly
Yeah, I
what
know
it
what
is.
you're talking about.
That's hideous. Ew.
But besides, that's really all I got. I don't know if you guys had some quotes. I didn't have like any quotes written down. I'm gonna take a look over like on IMDb, see if I feel anything that kind of stands out to me. But it wasn't a super quote heavy movie.
no. I mean, be careful not to choke on your
No,
aspiration.
no, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Vader's just a gimme. Whenever he's chatting, like that's a quote for sure. Like that's something I'd write down.
Uh,
I mean,
I thought the
oh,
humor K2, from K2 is quotable. Um, like I pulled up the whole thing because there's a couple of them, but like there you are. I'm standing by you as you requested. Although there's a problem on the horizon, there's no horizon. That gets a chuckle out of me. And then like there's a lot of explosions for two people blending in, and then when he's talking, because him and Jin just don't like each other at
Oh yeah.
all. But whatchamacallit, it is lost to me. Oh yeah, I'll be there for you. Cassian said I had to. Like that humor to me is funny. Like if I'm watching Star Wars, that little quick joke, if it's balanced, not like some awful Ragnarok kind of too much stuff, but like that is funny
yeah. I
I
mean,
agree.
I agree. I mean, that's why K2 is one of the best characters in this movie.
to me.
Another good quote I have is when they put the bag over the blind guy's head, and he's like, "Are you kidding me? I'm blind."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one did get a chuckle out of me.
Yeah.
I'm one. I'm one with the Force. The Force is with me. I'm one with the Force. The Force is with
Wanna be
me.
Jedi ass. Give me tight. He's soft.
I mean, there's so many like different ways to use the Force. I mean, you see it in Fallen Order with the
Yeah.
Night Sister. Like there's so like the Jedi just have the dogmatic narrow view of the Jedi.
And that's why I like movies like this, because there is so many other applications of just Star Wars in general. If you ask somebody like a question about Star Wars, they'd legitimately think the only source material that exists, like an amateur fan, would literally just be like the Skywalkers. Like, yeah, I'm sure there's a couple books about the Skywalkers, but like legends, like even the stuff that is canon, there's
I'm
so much,
I'm
so
looking
much.
like I'm looking right now. I have like there's books over here about like these characters. There's books around here that about characters that have never even seen any light of day on the
No,
screen. Like there's Clone
not even
Wars
gotten a
characters.
mention. Like,
Yeah, like this Alphabet Squadron book. Like this is a complete like brand new story with brand new characters, and it's tough as fuck. And it's about just like old rebel pilots and stuff. And it's like that's the thing that Star Wars, and I appreciate that they've started to do so with like we are getting the Mandalorian. Yes, Luke is in it, but like it branches out a little more, which we're getting more of the Mandalorian storyline, like Andor being able to get more of just something that's not just the Jedi. I like Star Wars, yes, because light and dark, but I like Star Wars because of the universe that was built
mhm.
upon it, not just because of the Jedi and the Sith.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you guys have any other quotes. That's really all I got. There was
Yeah,
another one. I was
go
just
ahead.
gonna say that whole exchange between Galen and Jin, like when he was on the holotape. I don't know. They have like the most ridiculous naming for some of these things, but whatever, like that his whole speech to her was really good. It's kind of tough though that like chances of like Saw Gerrera was watching. I'm like, bro, this isn't even for me. Because like, what are the chances that Jin actually pulled up and watched that when he sent it for Saw Gerrera? But whatever. Neither here nor that.
True. True, true.
But jumping into heights. Yeah, alright. Willie, did you have any? Or is Hag, did you have any?
I don't really have it. Besides them just
I
blowing
got
up
an
Jeddah
egregious
City.
one. I got an
Besides
egregious one.
besides them blowing up Jeddah City and not just the entire planet.
I mean,
I got two.
my main one that like I literally, it was one of the few things where I was like literally as I was watching, I'm like, yeah, was when Jin's climbing up the first facility when she's about to see her dad. The one stormtrooper who just goes, and then she just grabs him and tosses him. And
Yeah,
I
she
was like,
throws his ass.
I'm like, you have zero leverage. Like, you do not have the strength. That dude could literally just back one step back and be fine. And it was just a moment of just like, oh no, I'm dead.
Yeah, the choreography in this movie wasn't good.
It was,
So
it was,
I have some. Yeah, I have a pretty hideous from that too. Did you have any other ones, Willie? Before I get into this,
Um, yeah, the not too much. Like the other. Okay, I know you love Andor, but the convenience of him eating that shot, falling, hitting his back on two beams, and then lying flat
Oh,
like
yeah.
30 feet down. That was a little bit of an I'm happy he didn't die,
Yeah.
but I was
Just
sitting
from the
there. I
die
was like,
like 5 minutes later.
oh yeah, again, like I just like I understand. Yes, he's a Star Wars main character. They don't just die
Mhm.
that easy. We need more. There's gonna be more like music behind it. But I was like, okay, like we're pushing it a little bit.
Yeah. He got fucking smoked. He got
Yeah.
fucked up.
He's fine though.
He walked that shit off. Just like people
Uh,
just walk off blaster shots in like all of Star Wars now. But whatever. Whatever.
Yeah. What do you?
So the
have?
one I have two. I'll save the most egregious one for last because I'm gonna end up probably editing in because it's so hideous. But when they're on Edu, when like around in that same scene when she's pulling up to see her father, how is Krennic's ship not getting blown up? They're literally dropping bombs on the platform, and like, wouldn't you think that the first thing they want to do is disable any ships? It's like, yeah,
Look, no one said smart.
yeah, no, that's something that just irks me more. It's just like, come on, it's like you just literally had
It's like-
her father. You had her father die on that platform, but you can't destroy the ship. It's like it doesn't feel like a good death that way. Like it's just not even substantial. Like the bomb wasn't big enough to destroy the ship or even disable it, but he got fucking smoked. It's like, yes, of course he's a person, but still, he was in close proximity to that damn thing, and those are fucking bombers. Like those are literally
Right.
designated bombers.
They took out a whole chunk of that bridge, like a massive chunk,
Mhm.
enough that they had to show it, and they didn't touch the ship at all.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
with
like,
you.
come on.
That's true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it was because I'm like, bro, because I was watching, I'm like, no way he's gonna get into this ship, no way he's gonna do it, and then he gets into, he's like, time, we have to retreat. It's like, oh come on, come off it. And then the most egregious one we've all been waiting for: 35 minutes and 35 seconds into this movie, the blind guy kicks sand in a stormtrooper's face, and he gets fucking confused by it when he's wearing a helmet.
Wait, are you
He
serious?
literally
Wait, I don't remember
kicks
that.
fucking sand
Wait,
up in
what?
the air. The stormtrooper like covers his face and like backs up and then gets beaten to death by the fucking stick. It's so egregious. When I saw it,
Alright.
I was like you guys can't see my face, but this is my face watching that.
The stormtroopers get me fucking tight because like their armor does nothing.
He's wearing a helmet, and he
If you look up,
It's
Kick
not
Sand
right.
face stormtrooper on Google, it's one of the first images, and it's
Mhm.
literally it's just sand going like this, and the stormtrooper.
It's such a little. It's not even like
"Ah!"
hard sand. It's just like literally like a gust of sand. It's like she could have picked it up and thrown it at him. Like
Oh
that shit's
my
not right, man. That's like one of the most
It's-
egregious things I've seen in a very long time. It's like, damn,
I
bro.
don't even
That's when you
remember
know that's
what
like
that is.
zero quality control. Like that's like you just film that scene and you're done. It's like I don't want to look at that scene anymore.
Wait till we get to the choreography in some of these later movies.
Oh my god, yeah, no, yeah. It's only gonna get worse from here for sure. But that's just an example for me. That's just an example of like what happens when you're putting a profit over actually like putting love into the movie. It's obviously in this movie it's not as bad, but it's going to be. It's going to get bad. Another thing that's kind of weird is like sure the Force with him and all that, but like Jedi's have lightsabers. Like that's how they can like be competitive against blasters. But he's got a stick. I don't know, man. It doesn't sit right
Him
with
being
me.
blind, him being blind is what gives him more of a stronger connection with the Force, because he's cut off all of the physical what he can see. Now he's just feeling what the
Yeah.
Force is telling him.
It's not even this movie. It's just that trope in general when you have guys with guns that keep walking towards a guy who's clearly using a fucking stick or like a close quarters weapon. To me, it just kind of seems like common sense that if you have a range advantage on somebody, you don't walk towards them. But that's just me. That's
all
not just
of
this
John
movie.
Wick 4. All of
Yeah,
John Wick
you know,
4.
yes.
Same
Thank
blind
you,
character.
thank you.
These dudes have semi-automatic to full automatic machine guns, and they're going
And they're
closer
walking,
and closer.
and then they walk towards him, and then as they get closer, starting to throw punches. I'm like, bro, you got a gun.
Read the room. He obviously is winning that fight. Do your job and
Yeah.
take a step back and just not get close to him. That's all you have to do.
Yeah. It's just something that annoys me for too much, for like no reason. Like, I'm sure people would say, "Oh, it's you're in a universe with Jedi's and lightsabers," and it's like, but that's the kind of stuff that should stay consistent. Like the stuff that like the Jedi, that's the stuff that's the sci-fi. But the realistic stuff is the fact if you're fighting someone with a stick who's got a blaster and they're shooting from all sides. Like it's funny how it's only ever like a face-to-face interaction, but these guys are all over the place. These stormtroopers are on top of buildings. They're in front of you. They're behind you. They're
That's just movies, though. It's unfortunate.
yeah. No, that's kind of what I'm getting at here. Is that I'm not picking on this movie. I'm not trying to pants this movie. I'm just pantsing every movie that uses that logic because it's really annoying and kind of just cheap.
Yeah. E. But I don't have anything else. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah.
No,
No.
that was it. Oh wait, actually no, I did have one. The character when you go to meet Saw. This is me looking up stuff. I looked at the character's name before the first person they meet, the pilot, before he gets the head over his the bag over his head. That character, the weird looking alien, his character name is literally Two Tubes. That's
Yes.
it.
Yes,
I,
yes.
I had no idea, and I looked it up, and I'm like, they didn't have any. I read there's an actual name for him. I pulled it up somewhere. There's an actual name for him, but the fact that on like on Google, it's just Two Tubes,
Two tubes.
just or tubes they call him. But I was like, really? Like nothing better than look
Like
up
as
tubes.
in like the number 2.
Yes.
It's like TWO Two Tubes. That's his just name. That's it. It's not like TU Star Wars like lingo. It's just two.
Yeah.
I thought that was just
All right.
really...
Classic. I mean, that's really all I got for them. Yeah, I eat businesses. Besides that, I guess I could just get this mic real close to my face and start talking very centrally and be like, "Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the thirsty moment of the movie."
Oh,
I don't have any thirsty moment of the movie because
I mean, gin? Question mark.
it's yeah, it's like yeah, she's hot, but it's like
There's nothing really
there's
that
nothing.
stands out.
Is it-
Mon
is
Mothma
it-
too. It's like
Yeah,
baby.
Mama.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
I thought that's just kind of
It's more just like yeah, like she's an attractive actress and stuff, but there's not a scene where it's like yeah,
Yeah.
where it's like you're rubbing your hands together like plotting type. She's like no, it's the tone of the movie. I kind of wish it was a tad bit more serious. It definitely had a kind of some scenes where the comedy kind of didn't need the flow where it did, and that's why Andor kind of does that better in every way. Regardless, it definitely the tone of the movie was good. Like I definitely enjoyed the scenes where they actually knew when to keep it suspenseful and stuff. So,
yeah.
Okay.
but yeah, no thirsty moment unless you want to consider. I'm trying to think. I don't even think anyone was ever even like shirtless. Like I was about to give it to a guy, just how down bad I am. But like,
There's nothing. Not a thing.
maybe Vader when he's in Bacta.
Yeah,
That's true.
but
That is
but
me right now.
I think it's the opposite of this movie. It's all the little tiny ugly ass aliens that break it. The little I don't even know what to call them. They're just
Yeah.
like there's a little tiny one. The smaller they get, the wrinklier I guess these aliens get. But they're just fucking nasty. Like, I don't want to see that.
Yeah, the Star Wars is world renowned for its hideous ass species. Like they do their hardest to make them like horrifying. Where you see them, it's like I can't look at this anymore. It's like you're legitimately having to turn away.
What is this?
But then there's like the
Yeah.
blue elephant too. Like how do you get the ugly ass?
You can definitely tell the ones that George Lucas made compared to the ones that Disney made. Like there's so much more simplicity in the ones that Disney made. Like they're kind of just like, all right, let's make them blue. It's like, oh yeah, he looks too much like a human. Make him blue and give him ears or something like that. Like that's kind of like the simplicity of it sometimes. But this movie was very rich in like just like you said earlier, Hag. Like yeah, like the planets we saw, just world building in general. This is a super rich movie considering that the way it ends is so like bittersweet. They really did a great job at setting up so much.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But I guess, is it what time I think it is, DL?
Is a question of the week.
Yes, sir. I got it pulled up. Every Saturday-ish, we take to the Instagram at the Staincast and ask you guys a lovely question. This week, we asked you what you thought of this movie.
Hold on.
And-
Did you put it on the
Hold up.
I gotta click through like 100 stories. Hold up.
Yeah, we got But so we asked you guys what you thought of this movie. We had quite a few responses. I'll just get started on reading while DL is doing his thing. I just dropped something.
I got it. I can read it if you want, unless you want to do it. Doesn't matter.
By all means, go right ahead.
Okay. So I asked you guys, like I said last week, I'm keeping it simple from now on. I'm not going intricate. I'm not gonna freaking rustle my
I like
feathers
the
trying to
easy
cook up
questions.
something nice.
Y'all like
Uh,
the easy question.
yeah, y'all simple. I appreciate that. But jokes aside, I asked you guys, what'd you think of the movie? Like Hag said, everyone who commented, thank you. We appreciate it. I'm not gonna get on the freaking train of making fun of anyone who didn't because you know who you are. I see who skips. You
That's
don't
true.
love your mother if you skip the Staincast stories. That's all I'm saying.
That
Look,
is,
I'm
you
just
just
letting you
don't love
know.
your
Exactly. That's a you problem. But regardless, Mumbrella is a W movie. Agree. I'll kind of get into like my overarching like idea of the movie like as soon as we finish, even though we kind of have been talking about it. But Xander said peak Star Wars. I wouldn't call it peak.
I don't know if I
It's
can
like
agree with that.
I would call it like tail end peak if that even makes sense. Like that's kind of like the first word that comes to my head. Where like it's still, it's like the sun of peak Star Wars. It's like yeah, it's still super related and it has that same pull. Like obviously the Darth Vader scenes for sure. Governor Tarkin, even though it's not really Governor Tarkin, I still love his character. He's great. Uh, it just everything about that's awesome. But I don't think I'd call it peak Star Wars. Unfortunately, I wish I could.
Yeah, I don't agree with him on that either.
I would
Mm-hmm.
disagree. I'd throw it up there. I'm gonna be with him on this. Joking aside,
Yeah, I
think,
saw what you just said. Actually, a key part of the Star Wars universe. You had the next
I
comment.
yeah, exactly. I think it ties it in. I think it's a beautiful addition to it all. Like I don't think it takes away at all from any of the Star Wars. I think
Mm-hmm.
like the tear jerking and like sure, as we all know about, I love you. OT's a tear jerker, and like watching a movie with her, you're gonna cry a little bit, but like ending of it, seeing tied together, I think it works. I think it's up there.
Mm-hmm. No, I actually I agree with you with your what you're saying about like tying it in because this is one of those shows that does a great job between what happens before New Hope and then like how we're just jumped right in like how New Hope starts and we're right into the action of Darth Vader pulling up on their ship. I agree. It was a really good in between. The same way Obi-Wan was a good in between this Anakin and Obi-Wan like during that whole era before New Hope. But doesn't mean the show was good. It's like Andor. I'm not Andor. Rogue One. I will say it's good. Like it's definitely not shit or anything like to the same degree of Obi Wan. But like I enjoy them connecting it. But I don't know. It's difficult.
Sometimes you
It's
just need
definitely
to.
it's definitely a debate I could have for longer because I agree that like in some aspects it's definitely a key part. I think a key part is something I'd agree with, but I wouldn't call it peak Star Wars.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that. It's definitely
Yeah.
it's a story we needed to see in some form, but
And I'm
it's
glad
not.
we saw it.
Yeah, but it's not the first thing I'm running to when I want to watch Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's
But
fair.
we'll get to that a little later.
We have Max on the opposite side of the train. Overrated. Everyone dick rides this movie now, and only the last third is good. I
I don't
mean,
necessarily agree with
I
that, but I don't necessarily disagree with that either.
as a
I
dick
wouldn't call it
rider of this
overrated.
movie, I'd say I'm as a rider of that dick. I'm gonna agree. I could skip kind of a good chunk of the beginning.
Just like I said, like when you're jumping around at the beginning to all those different planets, it's a little like
It's a little.
nauseating. Like for me, who's like for us who see Star Wars a lot, like even that, even under that lens, it's still like even in other Star Wars projects, we're not jumping planet to planet that many times, and like I don't know. It's rushed at some points. I wouldn't call it overrated because I never see people being like, "Oh, Rogue One, greatest movie ever," that kind of idea to it. 'Cause I don't think I just don't think like the popularity of it is there. But that's just my opinion. That's my humble opinion. I don't know if you guys think that this movie. I mean, probably not, right, Willie? I know you said you like this movie, so you're definitely not going to say it's overrated. Hag, I don't know what your thoughts on that was
I I agree with you. I don't think it's like super overrated, but I
because
mean
it's
it's
not
also
super popular. Like in my like at least from
no,
what I've seen.
but also on the other hand, like Joe says in his next comment, it's the best Star Wars movie to come out of the 2010s by far.
Yeah,
No, Force Awakens is better.
You
That's my
think so?
opinion. Force Awakens is better until the last scene of the movie. That's the asterisk I'm putting on it because that shit is fire, man. It's like
It
it's
just for
difficult.
me it leads up to nothing, and then
Yeah,
I don't want to
yeah.
get much into it because we literally have an entire episode to talk about this. But it's
Mhm.
just it leads to
That's
nothing.
another. That's another one of those ones that I think it's up for debate for me. Like I could see myself flip flopping. It's also just because Star Wars, like for me, I know I said that I want to see stuff that doesn't involve the Skywalkers, but like, god damn it, they're so interesting sometimes though. It's like I'm kind of on the fence with it. So I'll just say sure, but
Sure.
we'll come back to this. We'll come back to this when we do Force Awakens. I'm sure I'll have a more a better kind of idea because I haven't watched that movie in a while. Paco said, "I mean, it's aight. The Vader scene is pretty goated, not gonna lie. Pretty much sums up my opinion of the movie as well." Brian James Arachi said, "Tough." So this is like the first movie we've done in a while. I feel like where there's like very mixed reviews, where you have someone who's literally saying peak Star Wars, a key part, someone saying it's overrated, and then you have someone saying it's aight. Like you kind of see all the sides of the spectrum here.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of,
But we'll
and I'll
get
just,
into ours
what are you
when
saying?
we, I'll say we get into ours when we actually do our rankings in a little bit.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, yeah. What am I talking about? Thank you for stopping me. I was about to start chatting.
Yeah, but thank you guys to those of you that did respond.
Mhm.
Of course, thank you for this Saturday, as we'll have another lovely question for you.
Absolutely. You better vote. Like I said, this week you don't love your father if you don't comment. It changes every week.
I mean, I'm fine if they don't respond to this one though. This one's fucking. We're doing solo next week. Solo is like the definition of mid.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna have to be in our bag for this question to actually get people to respond to it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be fucking brain dead for next week's episode because it's gonna be fucking. It's. We'll get into solo next week. I'm not the biggest proprietor of that, but we'll go into that later.
But I guess I can show you guys the IMDb. I guess so. It's not really cool anymore. It's kind of just wow, there it is. So I think this is higher than episode 3.
Get it off my screen.
Don't tell
Get it off.
Hag. Don't tell Hag.
Get it
Don't
off.
tell
Get
Hag.
it off.
I'm, pre- I'm,
Get
I'm
it
pretty
off
sure
the
episode 2.
screen.
It's off. It's off. I'm
Episode
pretty
good.
sure. But oh, don't say that. Do not say that. You're about to get kicked.
And I won't die on that beach with this movie. I won't die on that beach with this movie. It's not a good one to do it.
Mhm.
I will kick you.
Your Wi-Fi is booty cheeks and it cut out, so whatever.
Yeah, that whatever threat you just made to him was pretty soft because you couldn't even hear it.
Fuck you both.
But a summary. I don't want to pull it back up because I'm afraid I might be murdered. So I'll just give you guys the quick rundown of it. It's very, very, very top heavy. 15% of people gave it a 10. 20, 30, 20. So yeah, 40, 50, 60, 85% of the people who voted in this movie gave it a 7 or above. So that's very impressive. Did I say 85? Yeah, something like that. Well, something like that. Look at the reviews if you're curious, but it's like 20%, 30%, 20%, and 15, 7 to 10 respectively. So that's very impressive. But you guys know those numbers, they don't mean nothing. They don't mean nothing compared to what we got. Because we have. So those are the numbers, but these are the numbers. The numbers.
The numbers.
All right. Did you end up doing the same categories that we said, Willie?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you got for story/writing?
I like this. I gave it a 3.
Okay.
I had it kind of. Honestly, I had it lower. I had it at a 2 until we got to more Darth Vader, and Darth Vader kind of brought it back up. There was just a couple like hit or miss. Like even, like I talked earlier about like the jokes from K2. I thought were really good and well done, but just overall, I had to give it like a 3. It went up and down for me, but nothing like crazy, really for me. But it wasn't awful like someone's flirting in the previous movies. But it's like it's not terrible.
It's like you got your hand on your fucking hair and you're like about to rip that shit out. That shit's getting you so tight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, I think I'd agree with you on that. It's not like the perfect Star Wars story. It's definitely interesting. I mean, like I just said before, it's a story that we needed to see, but I personally don't know if we needed a full movie about it. It definitely could have been told through other media. But besides the point, the story is good. There are some aspects of it that maybe could have been sped up or slowed down a little bit to give it a little room to breathe. But overall, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the same camp as you. I have it as the 3 also. If Darth Vader wasn't in it, it'd probably be a 2. That's all I got.
Word. So then I guess
So,
I'll start off with acting, and
get that! Get that!
I'm going to give acting a 3 as well. I think that everybody that needed to pull their weight pulled their weight, but there wasn't any too outstanding performance in it. Mads Mikkelsen was great, Ben Mendelsohn was great, Jin, Cassian, K2, like they all did fantastic jobs, but there was no you know outstanding performance that made me really be like, wow, this acting is phenomenal.
Ben Mendelsohn be getting that Disney check, bro. He's about to be getting another check very soon for Secret
Yeah,
Invasion.
Secret Invasion. Yes, sir.
uh, did you give yours for acting, Willie?
No. I actually am changing mine thinking about it now.
Okay.
I had it at a 3 with Hag, but then I thought back to how well I was moved by each of the characters' deaths and how significant they were. Like, no matter what happened throughout the rest of the movie, which, yes, does mean it is the bulk of the movie, and there are some questionable moments, but I thought as a whole, um, everyone as a team of actors did well. Like Hag was saying, they pulled their weight and everything, and I would leave that at 3 just off that. But the fact is that at every death that we saw, I was moved. Like I felt something. That brought up to a 4 for me.
Okay. Understandable. I mean, they actually, honestly, like on paper, it does have actually a pretty stacked cast. Like even if they're not even in it as much, where you have like Mads Mikkelsen and like Ben Mendelsohn and stuff, like the actors did do a great job, and I think. Nah, I was just kind of like reassessing my score based off that, but it's still a 3 for me. Um, I agree that the deaths were really good though, because it's very easy to
make
have like
deaths.
I mean, it's difficult to make deaths meaningful in a movie that they were just introduced in. Like that's not an
Yeah.
easy thing to do, especially when you have. I mean, what was it, like 5, 6 characters that died at the end there? You had like Jin, Andor, the
Yeah,
blind
like
guy,
6.
the the heavy gunner, the
Vader.
7.
pilot.
It was literally the entire main cast.
See,
Yeah.
exactly. Like the thing is, like think about in the Star Wars, everything we've watched in Star Wars. Think about how many people died. Like almost everyone
Yeah,
that
no.
makes it to the screen dies. But in this one movie, these actors were only given majority of them one movie and or a show with
Mm-hmm.
Andor. Later on, they were only given one opportunity to show themselves, and their
Mm-hmm.
death still meant something. So
Absolutely. I mean,
that
this is our first time seeing all of these characters. I think, besides obviously like Vader and stuff. But like anyone who died, I think this is their first introduction. It's like that's kind of
Except for
impressive.
Saw.
Saw,
Yeah,
yeah, but like live action Saw, isn't this his first?
Yes.
it's gotta
So
be. Yeah.
like going just off that for me puts it definitely at a 4.
Okay.
I can respect. I just don't agree.
Mm-hmm. What do we got next? What am I jumping into? Originality. This one's always difficult for Star Wars because like it's fucking Star Wars. So like I got to give it a 4, especially since I've been like saying how uh, refreshing it is to have something that doesn't revolve around the Skywalker. So I think I got to put my money where my mouth is. I'm gonna give it a 4. I don't know
Yeah,
what you
I
got.
mean, I agree with that. It's like you said, something that's not the Star Wars. I mean, Vader's still in it. I mean, the Skywalkers, Vader's still in it, but
Yeah,
still,
but
like
like not to the same extent where like his name is being brought up every 15 fucking minutes.
it's just a separate story that we needed to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Agree with both you. 4 all the way, and even like the little things like where they use the same whatchamacallit, the same little image for the Death Star plans they use actually when they get to A New Hope, the little like dotted Death Star.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
little stuff like that for originality, like that gives it a 4 for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like the excellent job they did with continuity, like just kind of like having all of the members who were in 4 at that table, like in this movie, just bringing everybody back, making sure that like all the characters act the same way, like all of that stuff is done perfectly. Like it is great. It's just that like some parts of this movie just don't hit the same. But
Yeah.
that's kind of just that's the name of the game nowadays, unfortunately. But
That's
rewatchability. Uh, I don't know who wanted to go first. Hag, did you want to go first?
Sure. Rewatchability, I gave it a 3. I mean, it's definitely one of the more like if I just want to throw on like a Star Wars something. It's one of like
Mhm.
the movies that'll come to contention, but it's not the first one I'll pick either. I mean, I'll definitely
Mhm.
pick it over something like 2 or 1 or even to an extent 4 sometimes, because 4 could be a little slow, but
Mhm.
it's still not something I'm gonna watch a lot.
Okay, I understand. That makes sense. That's
Yeah,
respectable.
that's why I'm
Willie,
putting it at.
what do you got?
Same thing. It's a three. Like I like this. I do actually love this movie. I think it's really good, but it's not like not my first choice to throw on for
Hmm.
Star Wars content. And like definitely like it was so good to me to rewatch it again because I haven't seen it in a long time. So that's not again like how you're saying. It's better than some of them. It's not the best. It's not the worst. But I keep it at three.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can understand where you guys come from with a three, and I'm on the fence right now between a three. But I think probably just give it a two for the reason of this is like the third time I've watched the movie. It's a great movie. I don't know. I just don't. It doesn't have that replayability factor to me. I like. There's nothing really like that gets better on rewatch. Like it stays the same, and it's still like the product itself is great. It's good. Um, it's not bad. It's just I also had Phantom Menace episode one as a two, and I feel like these movies are kind of in the same. Where I'm gonna watch Darth Vader pulling up. I'm gonna watch that nuke scene because that entire scene is amazing.
Masterful,
Like
yeah.
they're like just watching like seeing their view on the beach, and then you see like them from space, him looking down. Like, it's shot perfectly. Like it's a great looking scene, but I just don't really see myself being too interested in the beginning part of the story. Like it's because the end part, like it finishes off great. So like that's definitely something to appreciate. But it's the same thing with one, where it's like I just don't see myself watching like the pod racing scene. Like I'm not too into that either. So it's like I'd go on YouTube and look up Darth Vader kills all the rebels and barely
Yeah,
breaks a sweat doing it.
yeah. But I mean, finishing off then with cinematography, um, it's got to be a
No
4. I
surprise for
mean,
me. I'm just
yeah,
gonna say four. Like it's
yeah. I
fucking
mean,
Star Wars, man.
it
Yeah.
looks beautiful. Star Wars looks beautiful, and especially with modern CGI, whatever everything they were able to do with this is just phenomenal.
A hundred
Hmm.
percent, 100%. Looking at like I'm looking at all the landscape things and like the Citadel, how like that looked and everything. Crazy, absolutely awesome.
Vader's
Yeah, it's
castle, and
Oh, Vader's castle, yeah.
it just
yeah.
looks so good.
Their green screens are fucking wild, man. Like whatever they're using, like whether it's half practical or whatever they're cooking up, it looks so good. It's like Mustafar is an easy one, but even like what was another good
Scarif,
one? See,
Jeddah, like they all look
yeah,
good.
yeah. Scarif looked good. Like when you had like the tower and like you almost had like because you don't see a lot. I feel like you don't see a lot of like beach planets. Like you have like the one extreme or the other, like the super hot or super cold, but you don't kind of see like the tropical ones as much. So
Yeah,
Scarif was
and
very.
that's why I like Scarif. It was nice to see like a different looking planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
It's
also
not
Pretty
just
much,
fucking sand.
it's hard. It's a
yeah,
hard map to play though in Battlefront 2. I just played it for the first time 2 days ago because I was watching Rogue One. It's a hard
Mm-hmm.
map to play. Separate whole conversation, but it's like it's a tough map.
DL, you want
Yes,
to hop on to Supremacy later?
no. I fucking hate Supremacy, man. That shit is so infuriating. The amount of times where you get to their ship and it's like they run it back on you is
DL,
unholy.
do you remember that time that me, you, Xander, and B had like a 3 or 4 hour match just
Of
because it
course
was
I
going
do.
so fucking long? That
That's
was
why I'm
so
saying this.
that was just so much pain.
Me and Xander had like a fucking hour and 45-minute long match one time and like they ran it back on us. Like it was fucking horrifying. Like we literally won the first point, went to their ship, got them pretty weak, their generators or whatever. Then it went back to the middle. They won, got to our ship and destroyed our ship because they were using fucking droids, man. The droidica? Nah, don't get me started. Don't get me started on droidica. Droidicas are so slimy. If you know, you
I
know.
will,
Yeah, we'll be discussing video games at another time, so don't worry about that.
I'm
But
hopping on that. I need that. I'm gonna hop on later. Actually,
that's
play.
that's pretty much all I got for Rogue One. You know, it's pretty good. Watch it.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah, it's like compared to the other Star Wars projects, it definitely has that darker side to it. So anyone who's looking for something maybe a little bit more like, hey, this movie ended and I don't feel good. Like, look, watch the
Yeah.
movie because you don't, you really don't. Like, you finish the movie and it's like, damn, Darth Vader killed a bunch of rebels and everyone who I've just been watching for 2 hours is dead. Like, that's fucking terrible. But
It's
it ends
vile.
so well, and it's a credit to the story because it's like Just saying that out loud, it sounds like it's going to be a terrible movie, but I enjoyed
it's
it.
a good one. But yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget as usual, thank you. Well, actually, thank you, Willie, for joining us. And then don't forget as usual, DL, take it away.
Oh, come on now. All right. Of course, like I said, thank you for joining us, Willie. Hopefully, we'll get you on again soon. We're already past the yearly quota, so we're doing good with that. We're way past schedule, but obviously, Instagram, the Staincast, like our posts, comment, share if you'd like. What
Turn
else
on
do I
post
got?
notifications.
Yes, turn on post notifications every around Saturday-ish. We post the question of the week. We also post, like we always do our post, and then we do the question of the week on our story. So when
Yes,
one's
sir.
up, the other one's up, vice versa. We're on Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube. If you want to see us,
Like,
go on
comment,
YouTube. If you want to hear us, yes, like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Ring the bell. You guys probably hear this from a million other people that you watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you want to hear us, go on Spotify, Apple Music. If you want to see us, go on YouTube. Regardless, no hard feelings. We love
Yes,
you
sir.
guys.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week for
For
Solo Star
mid.
Wars. Yeah.
Or
For
mid
peak Star Wars.
peak,
Well,
Yeah,
peaking.
peak.